Hello and welcome to this edition of Burgers and Fries. So this time we're going to be doing a really fun topic where it seems very appropriate now that we're talking about the quote-unquote downfall of Hollywood because of this ongoing Screen Actors Guild strike that is going on, or more specifically, the writers' strike that is going on. It's very fitting that with all this talk about the downfall of Hollywood, now they have one more thing to have where we're just absolutely having no sympathy for what's going on in the world of Hollywood. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
I know myself and Greg, we still go to the movie theater pretty regularly. I'm an AMC Stubs member, all right? And ever since the movies started allowing us to go see movies, I've tried to go and see the stuff that I want to see. There's still the appeal, all right? And I'm talking ticket prices. I'm talking, do you order the seats online on an app, or do you go to the movie theater and go up to the ticket booth and say, "One, please"?
I go up to the ticket booth.
All right, so you're pretty old school. All right.
And I will be honest, it can be a pain in the butt to wait in line.
I agree.
Right. That is why I just do the AMC app. So if there's a movie I want to see, I just look up the show times. Typically, I usually do the matinee shows, the early morning to the early afternoon shows, because the tickets are cheaper.
Well, you could also always do what I used to do. Like back when I was a kid, like my parents would always get the tickets a day in advance, and we could just go get and just go get our food and go sit down.
Right. That's, of course, something you can do as well. But nowadays, it is just much more convenient to just buy the tickets online. And you can even order your concessions online as well. So
I never knew about that.
So, yes, if you actually went to the movies, Tony, instead of this whole "I won't watch anything past 1999" bullshit, you'd actually enjoy some of the conveniences of going to the movies now.
I suppose.
But Greg, how much does it cost for a movie ticket and concessions for you?
Well, I think for the tickets, it depends on which theater you're going to. For something like IMAX or Dolby.
That is correct. But so let's say base price, no IMAX, no recliners, no 3D, just the basic theaters. What are we talking about?
Well, the last one I went to for is AMC theater, which is the ticket price there is for $16.
Okay, but that's for Dolby. That's for like enhanced sound and reclining seats.
I mean, that's standard.
Oh, that's standard. Okay, but is this an evening show or is this matinee?
Evening.
Okay, so and again, that is why I prefer to do the matinee shows, because they're cheaper. So instead of $16 for a regular seat, you can spend $16 for a Dolby recliner seat if you did a matinee show. Like, wouldn't that sound more appealing?
I guess.
Before we had AMC, we had show plays and stuff owned by Carousel Theaters, but then AMC bought them out. Carousel's show plays was awesome. You got free refills of popcorn and soft drink, no matter what the size was and everything like that. It was much better than AMC, that's for sure.
Well, AMC is probably the top dog at it. I also, back when I had an ex-wife/girlfriend, I used to love doing the drive-in theaters. Because you can, in 2010, it was 2 movies for $7. They were always double features.
That's actually awesome.
But again, the screen quality isn't as good, the lighting isn't as good, so you do get what you pay for, and the concessions are usually cheaper at the drive-in, at least where I live. But now, speaking of concessions, all right, Greg, what do you usually like to get when you go to a movie?
I just sometimes get nachos.
Okay, another nacho guy. So you get a nacho and a drink. All right. Tony, whenever you do go to the movies, what do you like to get?
Usually popcorn and maybe some candy and maybe an icy or just a regular drink itself.
Okay. Mikey.
Usually just popcorn and a soda.
So, all right, we all have our stuff that we like. I like to get the movie theater nachos, and usually with an extra cheese cup, because that AMC butter cheese is really fucking good. Can't get enough of that shit. Nachos and a large drink is $15. All right?
God damn.
That's expensive.
Exactly. It's expensive. So, Greg, you say nachos, a drink, and whatever. So that's over $25 for concessions for snacks. So going to the movie theaters nowadays, if you go to an AMC or whatever, if you just get the base ticket, that's at least $15 possibly on average. So you're spending $30 at least if you're getting snacks. All right? That's not exactly cheap for a movie-going experience. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
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 So we have had the pandemic for a couple years. The movie theaters were taking a huge hit. They were practically shut down because people weren't allowed to use them. So now you've had movie theaters struggling to get audiences back. So what do you got to do to get audiences back to the movie theaters?
Honestly, I don't think they could do as much as they used to because I prefer streaming.
How much does it cost to to stream a movie that's still in theaters?
I remember it was $7.
Really?
Like when it was Avatar and Mulan.
All right. So Disney Plus, you could spend $7 and you can stream that movie.
Yeah.
Not bad. Nowadays, would it still be $7 to stream a movie that's still in theaters, or is it probably a little bit more?
That was during the pandemic.
Right. But let's talk about now. So you prefer streaming, which is fine. I love the convenience of streaming too. But we're talking about movies that are still in theaters. Okay, if you can just stream the movie to your house, how much does that cost? Do you guys know?
No, don't know.
Like it was either 7 or 10. Like I said, that was Disney Plus. When HBO Max did it, it was free. Like I remember seeing Space Jam 2 for free and Tom and Jerry for free.
That's what got me. That's what got me to sign up for HBO Max, because Wonder Woman, the second one, was on that.
Yeah, that too.
All right. Imagine if you're a family of 4. All right, you take your kids. Well, they need the popcorn, they need the candy, they need the drinks and the ices. That's $100 for a family of 4.
Give me a break. You might as well just go stream something or watch something with your Blu-ray collection.
Exactly. I can agree with you.
Well, there's a problem with the whole streaming thing. I'd rather go out to see a movie, not be at home all the time to watch it on TV or something.
And again, I agree with you there. But so we're talking about how expensive it is to go see a movie. So I'm asking you guys, what needs to happen for people to want to go back to the movies?
1, lower the prices. 2, bring back free refills for any size popcorn and drink.
Well, they have
2,
those. At least I do at AMC.
Not my AMC. Only one size, and that's it.
Okay. Well, you're free. No, at my AMC, you are free to go get free refills.
For any size?
Yeah,
Only for one size
because it's automatic. It's automatic dispenses. So they're not gonna monitor your refills because all the dispensers are available for people. A lot of theaters have that option where you can get free refills on the popcorn and your sodas. But usually those sodas that are like $8 are usually so large that if you drink that entire soda during the entire movie, that's a lot of fucking soda.
In other words, get ready to pee.
Exactly. In fact, I will get to this, but I did see Barbie and Oppenheimer today. And I definitely had to pee after watching both of them because I did a refill between them. Once again, what needs to happen to make people go back to the movies and enjoy their experiences?
I would say original ideas, and the thing that got me into the movie theater the most was Spider-Man, the one with Peter Parker and Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield.
Which was fucking great, all right? So,
yeah.
Mikey's point, and I'm sure Greg can agree with this, it's got to be a movie that you want to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty simple stuff.
Those are rare in between. Like the Mario movie was another one that I wanted to see as well. And it was extremely hilarious.
Okay, so that's another movie that was really successful at the box office, which we'll actually get to. So we're all agreeing it's got to be movies that people want to see. All right?
And don't make it so freaking expensive where you're spending over $100 for a family of 4.
So let's talk about like the top grossing films, all right, and the quote unquote flops of this year and last year, all right. I have the list right here. Okay, the list of so starting in 2023, Avatar: The Way of Water was the #1 movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp for a little bit. Creed, the latest Rocky movie without the Rocky, was a #1 film. People went and saw Shazam. They went and saw John Wick. They went and saw Dungeons and Dragons. And of course, for a long time, okay, for pretty much all of April, it was Super Mario Brothers. For May, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was the #1. Little Mermaid, the live-action remake, was a #1 movie. Across the Spider-Verse was a #1 movie. Even Transformers, The Flash, Indiana Jones, all right, Mission Impossible. These are the movies that people want to see. In terms of the top grossing films of 2023, the number one top grossing movie is Super Mario Brothers. And then you got Spider-Man, Guardians, Little Mermaid. The live action is number 4. Barbie right now is at number 7, but it just opened, so it probably is going to go up. Indiana Jones opened recently as well, but I don't think it's going to gross that much more. And then when you go to 2022, Top Gun Maverick was the top one. All right, Black Panther, the sequel, Doctor Strange, Avatar: The Way of Water, Jurassic World, Minions, the Robert Pattinson Batman. All right, Spider-Man: No Way Home was number 9, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Out of those movies that I saw, okay, Spider-Man and the Batman and Jurassic World were what I saw in the theaters. This is clearly, okay, these are the movies that people want to see. Would you say that these movies are suffering from a lot of the tropes now, or are these the exception rather than the rule?
Exception.
And then again, what were some of the flops of this year? All right, Indiana Jones, the latest one, is going to be considered a flop because it had a budget of about $400 million, and its current box office right now is $335. So it hasn't made back its budget. The Flash is also becoming considered a flop, and I think. And I actually enjoyed The Flash. It wasn't that bad, but I think a lot of people just either were turned off by the whole Ezra Miller thing, or they just saw it for what it was. Oh, well, Michael Keaton coming back, well, that's just a cash grab.
Well, the Ezra Miller part, yes.
That's why you didn't want to see it.
I thought The Little Mermaid and Teenage Kraken were considered flops too.
Well, let's see. So in terms of The Little Mermaid had a budget of about $250 million, all right? So it currently on Wikipedia is saying that its box office is about 560. But I think that's also overseas and all the other markets elsewhere. Domestically, it probably didn't make that much more than its budget. So whether that's considered a bomb or whatever, I wasn't interested.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, as a recall, even people overseas didn't even like it either.
Yeah, usually that's what I read, is that it made less than $10 million in China, when normally the live-action Disney remakes make almost $100 million there. So clearly, there's a huge amount of people that have said, nah, I don't want to see it. So, recently, all right, a very big movie that came out, I wouldn't say big, but a controversial movie that came out is The Sound of Freedom. Greg, did you see that one?
Yes.
So did I. What did you think of Sound of Freedom?
I can say that it was shocking.
Yeah, it definitely sets the tone right away the first 3 minutes. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but this is literally the beginning of the film where you have this person posing from a talent agency, say, hey, we'd like to bring your kids on because we think they're going to be stars. And then they tell the dad, okay, sorry, no parents allowed in here. Come back at 7. And then the parent comes back at 7 and the kids are gone. And before the kids are gone, there's actually a little bit of a scene where they are grooming the kids, so to speak. Because we know in that they're actually going to kidnap them and put them for child sex slavery, all right? So they're telling the kids, hey, you should put some lipstick on. Oh, you should unbutton the shirt. It's disturbing. It's only the first 3 minutes of the movie, and it already nails you on just how emotionally upsetting the subject matter is.
Yep.
But and again, the rest of the movie, you have Jim Caviezel playing a real-life person who actively did these sting operations to take down these pedophiles and save these children from child sex slavery. Oh, but according to the left wing, it's QAnon propaganda. It's right-wing propaganda that this movie is. When did saving children become right-wing? What the fuck?
Tell me about it.
You're just now hearing this, Tony, all right? You're hearing about people calling this QAnon conspiracies. It's based on a real person.
You're right. It is new to me. I did not know.
These are the people you voted for, Tony,
and
that are calling it right-wing conspiracies.
And if I could point this out, and these are the same people that defend the Cuties movie.
That's right. People, I believe on Rolling Stone, like they're putting these really harsh reviews about The Sound of Freedom. But then you go back to their Cuties review and they're saying, oh, Cuties is an empowering movie about a coming of age tale. It's like, no, This movie is a movie about somebody saving children from child sex slavery. The other one actively sexualizes children, and that's an empowering movie? What the fuck?
The irony in that is just baffling.
Yes, it is irony.
And double standard.
And we both know.
Hypocritical.
Exactly. And we both know that if it was a white man who made Cuties, that person would be put in prison for the rest of his life. But because it was made by a Muslim black woman, then it's a piece of art. Ugh. And again, I've already done a huge rant back on my channel going over this, so I really don't need to go over it again. But again, when did protecting kids from being sexualized become a right-wing thing?
Good question.
The Pizzagate scandal. I used to tell people about Dan Schneider and John Belushi. They didn't believe me. They thought I was crazy. And then when it happened, they're like, what? John Belushi, Dan Schneider are these monsters? What? I had no idea.
Who was John Belushi again? I know who Dan Schneider was, but who was John Belushi?
He was an SNL actor. So John Belushi did this stuff?
John, I don't remember. It's John K. or
no, definitely not John Belushi. John Belushi died in like 1982. All right,
I keep getting
there's no
John
way he would
K.
have done. Right. So the creator of Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, after it got revealed that he actually was a pedo creep or who tried to have a relationship with underage girls, like I could not support anything Ren and Stimpy.
It was more of the adult party that killed him.
Right.
And also, I gave a point this out. There's an animator that goes by the name of Julia Pickerman, who is involved in the Powerpuff Girls reboot. Also made some sort of a Netflix anime show called 12 Forever. She was caught stalking a 14-year-old boy when she was about 25, I think.
Oh, Lord.
Fucking people.
And, the only thing she ever got out of it was just a slap on the wrist.
Well, remember, James Gunn once called for all the Covington kids, the guy that it was the false report that a kid was harassing a Native American. It turns out it was the other way around. The MAGA hat-wearing kid. So James Gunn called for those kids to be put in a wood chipper. He said this publicly on Twitter, and all he got was a slap on the wrist.
Can you say that name again?
James Gunn.
Are you sure that was him?
Yeah, you can look it up. Now, we actually recently had a really big opening weekend with two movies that are completely opposite, yet they actually, before the movies came out, there was a social media trend that started out as a joke that actually caught a lot of people to see both movies on the same day. And that is Oppenheimer and Barbie. So that's where the whole Barbenheimer stuff is going on. I actually thought, you know what? What the hell? I will see both movies on the same day. And that's exactly what I did. So there is clearly a market. There is clearly an interest of trends going on where people are generating interest in a movie that they would otherwise have not have seen. Like, I probably would not have seen Barbie if the Barbenheimer joke didn't go around. In terms of Oppenheimer, thought it was a well done, really good movie. In terms of Barbie, it was okay. A lot of stuff that was cringeworthy, but there were some funny moments. If you're looking for woke stuff to digest or to deconstruct, you'll find it. If you're just looking for a pointless, meta humor movie, you'll find that too. But it's just funny that a joke actually turned into a trend that caused thousands of people to go see both movies on the same day as a double feature.
I thought Tony was gonna see Barbie.
Very funny. I had customers at my job, male and female, wanting to go see Barbie.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit that I saw the movie. It was actually a pretty packed theater, and I don't recall the theater laughing all that much, but like I said, there were some moments that did make me chuckle.
Were there also kids there too?
I didn't see that many kids, but again, it was on a school day, and I saw it at like 12:30 in the afternoon. There have been people that say that, there's not too many kids going to see movies nowadays, and I disagree, because if kids were not seeing The Little Mermaid, then The Little Mermaid wouldn't be the fourth highest grossing film of 2023.
Well, and the reason why I asked, because I did hear that the Barbie movie isn't really meant for kids at all.
No, it's PG-13. It's kind of an adult. It's not an adult subject, but it is a mature stuff. And again, it's quite ironic that a movie about a childhood doll has more political statements than a movie about the man who made the atomic bomb in World War II. So anyway, we got to move on, gentlemen. All right. So now we're going to go over the stuff that I'm sure you're going to be like, oh yeah, this is definitely what's wrong with Hollywood nowadays. First one we'll go over is the overuse of CGI.
Oh, I'll start. Let me start by that. CGI, I understand people want to use it in the movies, but they overdo it so much to where it's more of an annoyance than cool. Like, perfect example, 2012 Ice Age. That whole movie is it consists of CGI. The cars are CGI. The planes are CGI. The explosions and fire, all this stuff are CGI. And there's actually a funny part here where they're trying to escape. You look at special effects from back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, those were actual props that they used.
I agree, and the biggest thing would be that you know that a lot of the stuff in these movies is not actually there. Versus the practical effects, a lot of those explosions were real. A lot of the models and sets were real. So you know that these animatronics or these other effects that they were doing were actually there. And if there was any CGI, it was more of a supplement, not the main treat.
Yeah, but nowadays it is the main thing, and it's one of the turnoffs in modern movies.
As I want to point out, it's really expensive to be used.
All right, if a lot of movies just have a lot of overblown CGI, like, no way. Okay, so now going into the next one. All right, so we're going over franchises feeling like they're being milked to death. We already went over the MCU and how we feel like that has been milked to death.
Mm-hmm.
Any other franchises you just want to mention that you're like,
yes.
Oh God, why are they doing this?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Marvel, DC films are being overly milked like crazy, and they're getting worse and worse as time goes on. Of course, the milk and
Guardians was pretty good.
Well, yeah, aside from that, but they're also overly milking Star Wars and Pirates of the Caribbean, and
really? Because I thought they weren't going to do Pirates anymore.
Well,
now that Johnny Depp isn't.
They made so many of them. That's what I'm saying. And Mission Impossible is being over milked too.
Yeah, but Mission Impossible is still getting a lot of people going to the movies.
Well, James Bond too is after Daniel Craig they went downhill, but they just
okay. But the thing is, there's still a market for James Bond. There's still a market for Mission Impossible. There's clearly people still want to see those movies. So if people will buy them and buy tickets to them, then who's to say that that's milking it?
Well, still, I mean, look how many Star Wars films they're making.
Right, all the Star Wars TV shows, all the spin-off movies that they're trying to do.
And a new sequel trilogy that's in the works.
What?
Is it actually going to happen?
Well,
Are they actually going to do a 10, 11, 12?
Well, with only Rey, that is going to be uniting the Republic.
Oh God.
Good God.
Well, to be honest, honestly, just let them do it. Because if they're not going to listen, let them have their big flop.
Let them.
Yeah, the solo spin-off movies was considered a flop. And every success after Force Awakens, every sequel trilogy movie got worse and worse in terms of box office returns. Yeah, they made money, but not as much as they used to make.
That's because Star Wars should have ended after Episode 6. That's why.
But right, we have a new Ninja Turtles movie that's going to come up, and yes, I will go see it. And no, I don't care that April O'Neil is a fat black woman this time. I will see the movie for what it is, and then I will eventually do a ranking in a Coyote Rants video.
I gotta see that when that's uploaded.
April O'Neil's already been African American in one of the cartoons, so it doesn't bug me that she's what she is in this new movie.
No, it won't.
It doesn't bug me that they went with another CGI animated movie for Ninja Turtles. Like, I've accepted that they're always going to make new versions and iterations. Like, that doesn't bug me. Same with new versions of Batman. Same with new versions of Superman or whatever.
Well, tell that to those that are obsessed with identity politics and all that.
Right, and that's another thing that it feels like they're just jamming a lot of political BS in these movies, or CRT bullshit, or woke bullshit. It just there's people that will say, "Now we're tired of this stuff in the movies. We're tired of being reminded of this stuff in the movies. This isn't what we want to watch. We want to be entertained. We don't want to be lectured on injustices and underrepresentation."
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, according to Jennifer Lawrence, that until she was cast as Katniss in the Hunger Games, there were no female action stars?
No.
No, that is what Jennifer Lawrence said.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
And here you have Sigourney Weaver going, "Am I a fucking joke to you?" She's you just completely discredited Ellen Ripley. You discredited Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween movies.
Whatever, and whoever she was in Dirty Dancing.
Oh, well, Jennifer Grey. Okay, so strong female lead. But I'm talking about female action stars. And actually, no, Jennifer Grey was in Red Dawn, so she was an action star then.
Molly Ringwald could be a good one too.
I'm talking action stars.
Yeah, but never mind.
Thank you. I mean, there were plenty of action thrillers that have had female leads long before Jennifer Lawrence was Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games trilogy.
And look at all those James Bond female characters too.
Okay, but in that defense, all the females in the James Bond movies, those are Bond girls. Those are usually sex objects. Usually. Remember Uma Thurman? She did Kill Bill. You had Angelina Jolie was a female action star. That's just, and again, it's just another example of when you have Jennifer Lawrence, talking about underrepresentation or not, females not getting paid as much, blah blah blah. Well, when she says shit like that, she's like, people are easy to say, "Well, I'm sorry, we love you in these movies, but you're full of shit."
Well, I don't.
Neither do I.
But you also wanted to bring up how they're putting down the male characters. So while we're getting the strong female characters, so while we're getting the fifth Indiana Jones movie, where pretty much if you want to see Mary Sue qualities in this Helena character, you'll find it. And unlike how Marion was, unlike how other strong female leads were in movies past. All right, you have a lot of these Mary Sue characters where they're pretty much just perfect in every way and never lose a fight or a battle. Like, how the hell does Rey not lose a fucking battle against a well-trained Jedi who was trained by Luke?
I have no idea.
That's why she's not as interesting, because she doesn't lose. But putting down male characters. Okay, so look at what they did to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Making him into a wimp.
All because of Kathleen Kennedy.
That is true. Any other examples you want to list?
Captain Karen.
Oh, that's right, Captain Marvel. Where all of a sudden she's the most powerful of the superheroes. But hey, at least we got to see her get her ass kicked by Thanos.
Oh yeah.
And then it brings us to like the whole force diversity stuff that's going on inside in terms of the Academy movies, or the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences, where you have these standards that must be met in order for these movies to be eligible for the Academy of Motion Pictures. Have you heard any about that, Greg or Tony?
I think I might have heard about that. Which, to be honest, I think it's pathetic.
It's a double-edged sword. I am all for people getting opportunities to act or to write or to do whatever. All right. So if you're the right person for the job, I don't care what ethnicity you're from. All right. I 100% agree with that. But hiring somebody just because they are a certain ethnicity, all right, is basically racism in itself. It's like if somebody decided to work at a science museum and like, well, it says here on your application that you think the Earth is flat. Yeah. Well, but you're also gay and black? Welcome aboard.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
Yep.
Right. So standard A, on screen. The film must meet one of the following. At least one of the lead or significant supporting actors is from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. So, if you're going to make a movie about a historical period, what happens if your historical period is all about people in the Nordic lands? They're all from Scandinavia. So you have to have one black person in a movie about Vikings?
No.
That's basically what they're saying, though. Or historical dramas where they must be represented by a racial or ethnic group. There wasn't enough diversity in a movie about Dunkirk. Or they're saying, okay, in these movies, at least 30% of all actors in secondary and more minor roles are from an underrepresented group. Or the main storyline or theme or narrative of the film is centered on an unrepresented group. So it has to be about underrepresented people. Like, come on. So you're forcing people to have to write about this stuff. Now we're going to standard B, all right? The film, in terms of the team, the film must meet one of the following. At least 2 of the creative leadership positions and department heads, such as the director, or the cinematographer, or costume designer, are from underrepresented groups. So at least one of these must belong to them. So once again, you have people getting hired because they have to fit their diversity quotas. But if it's somebody that's not as good for the job, well, they have to hire them anyway. That, again, is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have people suing college campuses over the whole affirmative action things, especially how Asians have been discriminated against at Harvard colleges or whatever.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, we have to have more of this ethnicity here. We can't have too many Asians.
That's dumb.
The ones with the higher SAT scores. So allowing somebody with a lower SAT score to get to this college, well, you're just setting that person with the lower score up for failure more likely because they themselves don't have the aptitude to handle the pressures that these other people can handle.
Yep.
So again, that's where forced diversity can be a double-edged sword. So back to standard B. Well, at least 6 other crew and technical positions, such as the first AD or the script supervisor, are from an underrepresented ethnic group. So at least 30% of the film crew must be from an underrepresented racial group.
Must be.
No, these are the standards that they're saying, like, to meet the standards for the Motion Picture of Academy or whatever. All right, do you have standard C? Access. The film must meet both criteria. The distribution or financing company has paid apprenticeships or internships for underrepresented groups. The production, distribution, and or financing company offers below-the-line skill development to the underrepresented. Okay, so if they don't qualify, you still have to hire them and train them or whatever for skill development, even if they're not qualified. Standard D. Audience development. The film must have multiple in-house senior executives from underrepresented groups or on the marketing, publicity, and or distribution teams. So once again, I'm all for people getting opportunities, but they have to qualify and have the right jobs. That's just my stance on that.
Same here.
Does anybody remember the last time they watched the Oscars?
I haven't watched it in so
Actually
long.
watched it.
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Are they does seeing Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith count?
The clip of it doesn't count. I'm talking watching the Oscars as they actually happened.
I'm not sure because I just kind of stopped watching it, I think, when I was in my teenage years.
Same here. And that would have probably been the last since, I think it would probably been 2005. So that, again, is when I think somebody made a joke about this where they're talking to people on the street and they say, hey, so what did you think of The Aviator? Oh, I never saw it. What did you think of $1 Million Baby? I never saw it. What did you think of Being Julia?
Never saw it.
What did you think of White Chicks? Oh, that was funny. That movie was good.
Ugh.
But that's what we're saying. Like, so again, for as long as we've known, all right, the Oscars have usually represented movies that most people are not going to see because they're usually not movies that people want to go and watch, or at least not want to go see them in the theaters. And again, that's another reason why you have this quote-unquote downfall of Hollywood, because they're just not appealing to the masses as much as they used to. And when they're trying to appeal to what they consider to be underrepresented people, the smaller populations, trying to please them, pisses off the majority, and then that alienates half of the audience, and then it just gets people not wanting to go see.
Yep.
Let's finish off with the pointless reboots and remakes. So what are some pointless reboots and remakes that you feel like should never have been done?
With Blair Witch Project, Evil Dead, Halloween reboot by Rob Zombie, all those horror movies that keep being rebooted and remade and everything, and
now, mind you, Hollywood has been remaking their shit forever.
yeah, but they
Like Ben.
yeah, but the
Ben-Hur but the 1953 Ben-Hur was a remake of the 20s film. The Ten Commandments was a remake of a movie.
Scarface
these
was a remake of a 1939 movie.
Right. So these movies that are considered classics, a lot of them are actually remakes.
Yeah, but nowadays that's all they're doing now. You see how much Disney films are being remade and live action stuff. It's like all over the place. It's like, give me a break. I mean, it's a sign that Hollywood is running out of ideas. I mean, like, it's just
right. But again, they've been doing that forever.
yeah,
We've
but
been
it's more so
complaining
now.
about this.
But it's more so now.
If you and I were talking to each other in 2005, we would have been saying the same things about the remakes in the 90s. Like, these are conversations I used to have with my dad all the time. So how so is it worse now?
Look at all the Disney films they're remaking into live action stuff.
I can even say this. What was the point of rebooting Ghostbusters anyway?
To have a female cast, that's why.
Right, and then they made another. Then they rebooted again, but this time they made it a sequel to the original Ghostbusters universe, and it was a female-led cast. It was Spangler's granddaughter that was the female lead, and it actually kicked ass. Like, we can have movies with female leads that kick ass in 2023. We're not against strong female characters. It's just the way they have to be written.
Oh, yeah.
Tony, you need to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. If you like the original Ghostbusters, you would like this one. You are right, okay? I'm not saying you are wrong, Tony, when it comes to, these remakes and reboots are pointless. But, okay, my point is, okay, you're acting like this is a new thing, and I've been telling you, no, they've been doing this forever. Like, what we think about Hollywood today, it's been the same thing. Hollywood is just as scandalous now as it was in the 50s.
And remember, Tony, The Simpsons, I've already done everything.
Simpsons,
Yes, I know South Park reference. I know South Park reference.
Well, Tony, I mean, every idea has already been done, even before them.
So here's the trend, all right? We can talk about the sequels that they do. Like, oh, well, how does Mission Impossible have why is it a seventh movie? Well, Mission Impossible, that franchise, is one of the rare ones where the movies actually got better as they were released. Like, the movies after 3 actually told a more coherent storyline with continuity between them versus the first 2. So they actually got better and became more of a franchise versus what they were early on. So if they make money and people want to see them, then they will keep doing them. In the case of the Ghostbusters reboot that happened in 2016, because that didn't make the money that they wanted to make, well, then they had no choice but to try it in another direction that ultimately was successful. And then got a bunch of lefties going, oh, how dare they make that movie successful? They were just misogynists. Bitch, it was also a female-led cast, you dipshit.
And not to mention, I do recall one of those numbskulls saying that, oh, I wish those kids would die.
In the case of, like, remember how they did the Power Rangers reboot in 2017? And Lionsgate was so confident that this would become a series that they already announced a shitload of sequels before the first movie was released. Well, the first movie
about the Power Rangers movie?
Yeah, the one with Becky G. All right, but
Ivan News?
No.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong one. Sorry.
Yes, you are. All right, but the 2017 one, that didn't make as much money as they were supposed to make. Like, and I was excited for it. Like, oh, we're gonna get the Green Ranger in the next movie, and that never happened because it didn't make the money. So now supposedly they might do a reboot of that one again. So with popular franchises, they're always going to keep trying, and if they don't make money, then they'll stop. So you can badmouth all the new Batman movies all you want. As long as they make money, because they have millions of fans, they're going to keep doing them. Point taken?
Point taken.
So there you go, folks. Thank you again for coming into this discussion, gentlemen. All right. So I'm Desert Coyote 22. Thank you for listening.